This is an article that came out December 19th, 2018 in the Washington Examiner. Michael Barone, America's fertility headed to all-time low. And I've been talking about the fertility in America for quite some time, and it is still declining. In fact, they're expecting 2018 to be even lower than 2017. In 1957, 4.3 million babies were born in the United States, 4,316,233 to be exact. In 2017, 60 years later, the number was 3,853,472. That's an 11% decline in a nation whose population has nearly doubled over those 6 decades. And although there are a few days left in 2018, the number for this year is sure to be lower still. That's the dominant finding from a thorough and alarming American Enterprise Institute report on declining fertility in America by Lyman Stone of the Institute for Family Studies. In recent years, demographic journalists have focused on slivers of the population, the increasing percentages of Hispanics and Asians, the decline in births to teen mothers, low birth rates, and high-cost coastal metropolitan areas. Stone looks at the larger picture, that of total population, and finds that the specter of low fertility and ultimately of declining populations has come to America. That's a different picture from that of a decade ago, when American birth rates hovered around and sometimes just above replacement levels. That was a vivid contrast with substantially below replacement level birth rates in most of Europe and Japan. Those birth rates have buoyed upward by immigrant mothers after a quarter century of mass migration from Latin America, especially Mexico. But Mexicans' migration fell towards zero in 2007, 2009 recession, and births to migrants in the US sharply declined too. Some Americans, including many Trump fans, find that good news. It suggests that a lower percentage of babies are born to mothers in disadvantaged households. And just about everyone, as Stone notes, takes the continuing sharp decline in births to teenage mothers as good news too, considering that such children have tended to suffer negative outcomes. But the negative outcomes of increasing infertility and eventual population decline have even greater implications. To put it bluntly, who is going to pay for Social Security and Medicare when there are fewer working age adults paying taxes for older receiving benefits? So older adults, yeah, that is a problem. This is why they're telling you in the future there might not be any welfare. Welfare states assume expanding populations, and America's potential parents don't seem to be providing one anymore. Why? Stone rules out one cause. Survey shows that women want more children than they're having. That was probably not the case, or less so, when Americans' fertility rate dropped in the mid 1970s. The culprit this time is something that scarcely exists then: student loans for college. The top item on Stone's list of the 5 causes is increase young adult debt service costs due to student loans. Number 2 is decreasing young adult home ownership due to higher prices. And here it is again, student loans. Number 3 is increasing years spent actively enrolled in educational institutions, which tend to reduce birth rates dramatically. Government efforts to encourage higher education have, for many tended beneficiaries, backfired. Non-graduates still have debt. Graduates with political correct degrees can't find jobs. College costs have been inflated by administrative bloat and country club campuses. The entire educational complex is presently structured in such a way as to discourage family formations for young adults. You know, they said the millennials are getting married less than any other generation and having fewer babies. So, yes, that's a problem, which means you're going to have a big elder population again and hardly no young people. The result is delay in marriage, which explains the vast majority of changes in American fertility over the past 10 or 20 years, Stone writes. And though he doesn't mention it, the increasing number of non college whites who never married surely explains some of the rest. What are policymakers doing to respond to this abrupt demographic challenge? Approximately nothing. Stone notes that the Congressional Budget Office, the Social Security Administration, and Medicare actuaries have not even published stress test scenarios of long term fertility at 1.5 or 6.1. I'm sorry, 1.5 or 1.6, just below the current 1.7, which we know cannot replace a population. And that's where America is. Add incredible collective failure of foresight by almost all the economic bodies whose job it is to anticipate this kind of problem. House Speaker Paul Ryan, the one politician who has worked, okay, they're talking about, I don't know what he's doing, but I do remember he told Americans to have more babies, and we know that's not going to happen. Okay. Okay, so he has worked strenuously to address such problems, and at one point got all his Republican colleagues to go along with entitlement reform, has just delivered his farewell speech. House Republicans will be in the minority next month, and they have no appetite for taking up the issue again, especially since Trump has promised to leave entitlements entirely in place. And no significant number of Democratic office holders is seeking to give up what they consider one of their party's chief political advantages. It's quite a contrast with the late 1990s when American fertility was higher and Bill Clinton and Newt Gingrich were working on entitlement reform until the Monica Lewinsky scandal broke. Just another reminder that history is not always a story of progress. And it won't be, ladies and gentlemen. They're not going to be able to bring that 1.7 birth rate up in America. They're not, you know, and they believe in science, and their own scientist tells them once you go below a certain point, there's no coming back from that. But please tell me what you think. I mean, the article had a lot of good points. I mean, Michael Barone did okay, but he completely left out drug addiction, suicide, and all of the things that are going on today. That's another contributor into the low fertility rate in America. And you have a lot of low sperm count and people that just simply they're damn near sterile. They can't have children, and he didn't mention any of those things. Believe me, it's a lot worse than they ever will tell us. We are only getting a small taste of what's really going on through these articles. But please tell me what you think, ladies and gentlemen. Please leave your comment and subscribe. Don't forget to hit on the notification bell, and I'll see you on the next video. Peace, family.